It seems like he might have done some drugs.
Uh, he's high on life, man. So, Van Halen...
But, can I tell you something about David Lee Roth?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if you image searched him, you would never find him with a woman.
Oh, interesting.
In anything. Greg Gutfeld is a different singer, but a majestic, like anything that comes out of his mouth is like...
But I love those performative...
Yeah.
No, and I'm glad to see David Lee Roth back on stage. You have to get back on the
He has turned into a skinny old Jew. He's just like walking around, hey, what's going on? Yeah, it seems like he might have done some drugs.
He's high on life, man. So, Van Halen...
But, can I tell you something about David Lee Roth?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if you image searched him, you would never find him with a woman.
What David Lee Roth hid for decades will change everything you thought you knew about his love life. David Lee Roth has always been more than a rock star. He has been a phenomenon, a presence that dominated stages, commanded attention, and inspired awe. But behind the high kicks, the sunglasses, the flamboyant costumes, and the electrifying performances, David Lee Roth maintained a deeply private and guarded personal life. While the world saw the wild frontman of Van Halen, very few people ever glimpsed the private man who navigated his heart and relationships in secrecy. The story of David Lee Roth's hidden dating life is a tapestry woven with fleeting moments, quiet passion, deliberate discretion, and complex emotional layers that most fans will never fully understand. This story is not about scandal or sensationalism. It is about a man who loved, cared, and experienced connection while keeping the world at a safe distance. Every whisper, every rumor about David Lee Roth's romances contains fragments of a larger truth that he chose to protect. And this careful balance between public spectacle and private intimacy defines much of his legacy. From the earliest days of Van Halen's rise, David Lee Roth's magnetic charisma drew people into his orbit. Women of all kinds, musicians, actresses, models, and artists, gravitated toward him, captivated by his energy, charm, and audacity. Yet David Lee Roth learned early that fame could distort relationships, and that public attention could turn even the most genuine connection into gossip. To navigate this, he drew a line between his public persona and his private life. David Lee Roth understood that the man who performed on stage was not always the man who loved quietly in private, and he protected the latter with meticulous care. Friends who knew him well often remarked that while David Lee Roth appeared outrageous and reckless to the world, his true self was far more thoughtful, measured, and selective in matters of the heart. He chose to guard the intimate details of his relationships, ensuring that those he cared for would remain shielded from intrusion. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, David Lee Roth's romantic life became the subject of speculation and rumor as people tried to connect him with famous names in the entertainment world. Brooke Shields was one of the recurring names that surfaced in conversations about him, with tabloids hinting at a connection that David Lee Roth never confirmed or denied. Then came the whispers about Madonna, whose audacity, style, and celebrity matched David Lee Roth's own flamboyance. The truth behind these rumors has never been fully revealed because David Lee Roth never revealed it. For him, the act of protecting privacy was a form of loyalty and respect toward those involved. It was also an expression of his understanding that fame could overshadow the very people he cared about, turning real emotions into tabloid fodder. In this way, David Lee Roth mastered the art of maintaining a romantic life that was intense yet invisible to the public eye, a delicate balance few others in the entertainment industry ever achieved. Touring played a significant role in shaping David Lee Roth's dating patterns. The life of a touring musician is unpredictable and transient, with constant travel, late-night shows, backstage encounters, and fleeting moments of intimacy. David Lee Roth embraced this lifestyle fully, but he also recognized its limitations when it came to forming long-term romantic bonds. He often moved through cities and countries so rapidly that a stable, conventional relationship was almost impossible. Yet within this mobility, he discovered ways to experience connection discreetly, often finding moments of intimacy in private, carefully orchestrated encounters that would not be observed by the press or fans. For David Lee Roth, the thrill of music and travel did not preclude love. It merely required a level of secrecy and discretion that few others could understand. Even amidst fleeting romances, David Lee Roth valued women who shared his sense of independence and strength. He was drawn to partners who could match his energy and respect his need for freedom, yet he also sought those who possessed emotional depth and insight. These relationships, though often hidden, had a profound impact on him, shaping his understanding of connection, intimacy, and emotional feeling. David Lee Roth's hidden dating life was never about conquest or superficiality. It was about meeting people who resonated with his complex personality, people who understood the balance he maintained between personal freedom and the capacity for love. While the public may have only seen glimpses or rumors, the reality was that David Lee Roth approached each connection with thoughtfulness and intentionality. Throughout the years, insiders have spoken in vague terms about David Lee Roth's relationships with other celebrities, claiming that his discretion was unmatched. Some suggest he formed bonds with women in creative fields, where privacy and autonomy were respected and cherished. Others have hinted at connections that were emotionally significant, but never publicly acknowledged. David Lee Roth, by maintaining silence, allowed these relationships to exist without interference, judgment, or speculation. In doing so, he cultivated a romantic life that was deeply personal, meaningful, and protected from the pressures of fame. It was a life lived in quiet contrast to the chaos of public attention, a life that only a select few were privileged to witness. One of the most fascinating aspects of David Lee Roth's hidden dating life is the emotional complexity he displayed in private. While he was bold, flamboyant, and unapologetically wild on stage, he could be surprisingly introspective and sensitive offstage. Those who were close to him noticed a man capable of deep thought and reflection, someone who often weighed his emotions before acting upon them. David Lee Roth was not careless in love. He was deliberate. He understood the consequences of public exposure, and he made careful decisions about how much of his heart he allowed to be known. This depth of awareness, combined with his vibrant public persona, created a duality that made David Lee Roth both elusive and magnetic, admired for his artistry and envied for the secrecy of his private life. David Lee Roth also recognized that public scrutiny could destroy intimacy. He knew that celebrities who openly shared their romantic relationships often faced pressure, speculation, and intrusion that could erode trust. To avoid this, he treated every personal connection as sacred, refraining from public disclosure or commentary. Even when confronted with questions by reporters or interviewers, David Lee Roth often deflected or injected humor, preserving both his mystique and the safety of those he loved. In this way, he maintained a delicate equilibrium. The world saw the star, the charisma, the energy, but the private romantic stories remained invisible, untouched, and wholly his own. Over time, David Lee Roth's philosophy regarding love and privacy became clear. He valued moments of true connection, even if they were fleeting, over constant visibility or public recognition. He believed that love, intimacy, and emotional vulnerability should exist in a space where they could be nurtured without interference. As such, many of the women in his life have remained anonymous or unacknowledged publicly, and he maintained this privacy as a form of respect. It was a conscious choice, demonstrating a level of care and discretion that set him apart from many of his contemporaries in the music and entertainment industry. David Lee Roth's hidden dating life also reveals his understanding of the human desire for freedom. He never wanted love to feel like a cage, and he never wanted relationships to become performative. He recognized that intense public attention could distort reality, and he actively avoided allowing that distortion to affect those he cared about. In this way, he lived authentically, maintaining his independence while still experiencing meaningful connections that were carefully protected from public intrusion. Even later in life, David Lee Roth continued to prioritize privacy over publicity when it came to relationships. As other rock stars became more public about their romantic histories, he remained steadfast, keeping his experiences close to the chest. He occasionally spoke of loneliness, reflection, and the cost of a life spent in the spotlight, but he did so without revealing specific details about his partners. His restraint, rather than diminishing his narrative, added to the intrigue and admiration surrounding him. It allowed the story of his hidden dating life to remain vibrant, respectful, and enduring, a testament to his commitment to both his craft and the people he loved. In conclusion, the hidden dating life of David Lee Roth is a story of deliberate discretion, intense passion, and nuanced emotional intelligence. He built and maintained relationships that mattered, shielded them from fame, and navigated his personal life with an understanding of the delicate balance between love and privacy. David Lee Roth's romantic experiences, though often unspoken, reveal a man who cared deeply, thought carefully, and acted intentionally. The world saw his performances, his flamboyance, and his charisma, but the private romantic narrative of his heart